Good morning everyone, my name is Carol and today I'm going to be talking about worm farms and worms and how they can be very useful to us. Worms do a very important job on our planet in breaking down waste. As you see, I have a worm farm here, and after I finish speaking I'll let you have a look inside and you can see what the worms are doing. So one of the biggest problems today is the amount of waste we humans produce, which is getting more and more as the world's population grows. So we really need to do something to try and cut down the amount of waste we produce. And by waste, I mean the rubbish that we throw into our garbage bins. One of the things we throw away a lot of is food waste. Now we know once a week the garbage truck comes, takes our rubbish, and it takes it away and puts it in a big hole in the ground called a landfill. And we can forget about it. But the trouble with food waste is when it rots down, it releases these greenhouse gas emissions into our atmosphere. And these greenhouse gases cover our planet and act like a blanket, trapping the heat in and making it hotter. And although we need some greenhouse gases to make it the right temperature for us to live here, too much can cause our climate to change. This means our weather patterns might change. We might get more flooding, more droughts and more cyclones. But anyway, let's get back to the worms and find out what it is they do that can help us. Well, worms love to eat food scraps. We can put our food scraps in there and the worms will eat it and they'll produce what's known as a casting. In other words, it's what comes out the other end. And they produce a brown liquid known as worm tea, which we can dilute with water. But we don't drink it. We're going to use the castings and the worm tea and spread it on our gardens. It's good food for the plants. So if we have a vegetable garden, it's even better because we can use the good things the worms make to grow food. And the sort of things that worms like to eat are fruit and vegetable scraps, bits of bread, soggy paper and cardboard, leaves and grass cuttings. We wouldn't give them meat because that would attract rats and flies and then you'd get maggots and it would smell. So I hope today you've learned that worms are more than just slimy little creatures that live in the ground. They do in fact a very important job on the planet in breaking down waste, and they can help us reduce our waste. If we have a worm farm and we do other things like composting and recycling, which I'll be talking about another time, we can reduce the amount of waste we put into landfill, we can reduce those harmful greenhouse gas emissions. Thank you very much for listening. Now let's have a look at the worm farm and I'll answer your questions.